All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Quick Stix. This is episode 6. I'm joined as always by James and Sam. How we doing, guys?
All good. All good. Let's get into it.
James, question for you right out of the gates.
Sure.
I read online that dudes who eat boneless wings close their refrigerators with their hip. Can you confirm or deny this?
I think that might be true, but we've also seen videos of black bears and various massive animals do the same thing. So I think I could find you a video. I just feel like a boneless wing is just me being an honest person. Me and Miles Jones both eat boneless wings. Shout out, Miles Jones.
We also have not confirmed.
Shout out, Miles Jones.
No,
not confirmed.
Shout out, Miles.
It's not a chicken nugget. Okay, whatever.
Any hopes we had of Miles listening to this is now gone.
It's not chicken nugget.
All right.
Also, Sam, you owe me $10.
Let's jump right in. It was semifinals weekend. We had two incredible games. First one we had was Chaos Atlas. James, I'm going to kick it right over to you. Congratulations on the dub. What did you like in this game?
A lot, honestly. The Chaos are officially back. Their offense is looking so good. Defense looks solid. They went on a 9-0 run in the second half, which was just insane to watch. Dane Smith shot 75% from the field. Josh Byrne was literally unguardable at some points. They combined for 11 points. The addition of CJ Costabile has been an absolute game changer for the Chaos. Yeah. He makes transition happen, the two-pointers, everything else. I say, we'll talk about this a little bit more later, but Blaze is the MVP of the league, no questions asked. I'll take that argument to anybody. It was a 15-9 final, but kind of to brief on the Atlas a little bit. The Atlas went weirdly cold in the second half. They scored one goal. Romar did nothing. They looked locked down. It looked like the speed of the Chaos actually threw them off. They weren't ready for how quickly the ball was moving and the transition. A lot of the younger players looked like they were deer in headlights. They weren't really ready for the pressure. So Chaos won 15-9. I'm a little curious your guys' thoughts on the Chaos offense. We all know it's fun, but is it enough? Is the big question. So,
yeah, Sam, on the flip side, welcome to the club of no plans this weekend.
Yeah, it's
what
fun.
You got for this game? What'd you see?
First thing, Adler competing with Baptiste, which you haven't seen in the last few games with Atlas. Baptiste usually winning 70% around 100%. That. So Atlas have a lot more possessions to work out the kinks in their offense. I think Chaos combined with another great performance by Blaze. That man was
insane.
It's hard to put in words. He dominated, kind of knew where they were shooting before they already shot,
Right.
I think the crease, when he saved that crease dive from, I think, Law, I kind of in my head was like, yeah, I don't think this
guy's game. He's locked in. Yeah.
100%. That and their offense, Atlas offense, looks stagnant. There wasn't a lot of off-ball movement. I think they kept waiting for one of their attackmen. Teat was kind of shut off all game, so waiting for someone else to make that play, make that first cut, and get something going or something. Just didn't happen. And I think they waited too long into the game to possibly start that. So yeah.
Yeah, good take. No, it's a good take.
Go
ahead, Matt.
If you guys didn't read it, we were talking about this before we hopped on, but our boy Joe Keegan wrote a great article kind of recapping this game, and he hit a very good point on how Chaos approached this game defensively with putting two pulls up on midfielders, which worked out phenomenally well. But the one thing that I actually noticed, and I was glad that Joe touched on this, was if you guys haven't, I'm sure you have, but the Chaos, how they work their transition offense, especially when you have Blaze saving as many goals as he does, when he does save it, that ball goes from the cage to midfield in 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's actually 2 seconds. That's not a joke. It's actually 2 seconds.
He hit Costabile twice, and Costabile went down and scored. It's just such a game changer, and it's something that the Whipsnakes are going to have to be ready for next week. Clearly Atlas was not ready for it, but it's just so fast. It's so hard to get your guys back and set up an actual defense on that. But
yeah,
I was trying to think of who to compare it to, and as a Duke fan, it pains me to say this, but if you guys haven't watched UNC basketball in the last 10 to 15 years, that's something they've always been good at is transition offense. And they've never been a lockdown defensive team, but when they do get scored on, Roy Williams has that ball back at midcourt. It's no screw around. It's get the ball in bounds and get those points back, essentially.
Yeah.
They do it every freaking year under Roy Williams.
Yeah.
So it's something that I think that's a key to the Chaos winning next week is that transition offense, because it certainly worked out well this past weekend. But
Definitely.
I picked Chaos. I know you guys both picked Atlas, right?
We did. Yeah, I did.
I was definitely a little
100%.
shocked to see them only put up 9, but yeah, scoring 1 goal in the second half is not going to get you far in this league.
Not at all. It's crazy that Blaze doesn't give up rebounds either. Like, have we
No.
seen? You know what I mean?
Clean
Like
saves.
a lot of the other goalies, you know, it's all rebounds, but he's up and out. So it's crazy. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
So next game we had was Water Dogs Whipsnakes. Big question coming into this game was, will Michael Sowers play? And if he does play, where are they going to put him? You had a lot of people online saying, put him at attack. It's his natural position. Also, don't disrupt that midfielder line of Courier, Schlosser, and Kelly. But then you had some people saying, okay, well, if he's playing attack, who are you taking off the field? McCardle, Reeves, or Ryan Brown? So it was like, it's a good problem to have, but it's like you have to take one of those people off the field. So he ends up playing at midi. Dude, I forgot how quick that kid is.
So quick. That first step is so deadly.
Obviously, the matchup I watched was Whipsnakes attack versus Water Dogs defense. I was actually a little surprised to see Liam Burns following Gutterding as much as he did. But James and I were talking about this earlier. Whoever has the shorty on them, it's
go time.
Yo, I got this. Get away from me.
Get out of the way. Get out of the way.
Gutterding was hitting that question mark dodge from X. There is no shorty in the league who's catching that angle enough to stop that shot.
No chance. No chance.
Then you had Zed hitting these just filthy swim dodges with a shorty on him. It was just legit picking corners. But I might have to take my award back for most swagger in the league, dude. Zed Williams.
Yeah.
With these whips and these sellies are so tough.
His selly is like awesome. I love it. It's so cocky, but nobody could guard Zed, man. Nobody could guard Zed.
I mean, it's just week after week, but I will say the Water Dogs work the backdoor on the crease a lot. Don't be nasty. Nice. And Sowers had 2 just nasty assists in the first half, but eventually Whipsnakes pull away late in the second quarter, and then in the third quarter, mainly due to Zed Williams. He finished with, I think, 5 goals, and then McCardle actually finished with 6 points for the Water Dogs. But yeah, we got Whipsnakes moving on to their 3rd consecutive championship.
And Matt, did you see Dylan Ward's actual save percentage? I don't know if that's something that you actually
I didn't actually.
You didn't? I'm curious for that, because that was, as I've said since the beginning, I've tried to find what does the Water, what do they miss? And I think consistent goalie. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's the only place they fell short. Their defense is very good, but the Whipsnakes are going to get shots on goal, man, as we saw. So, Sam, what you got? Anything on this one?
One thing I didn't notice until, Matt, I read that same article from Joe Keegan. Water Dogs did not score 1 fast break goal that entire game.
The whole game.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So that definitely contributes, on the momentum and tempo. And but as you said, Zed was unstoppable. You know, that entire Whips offense is lethal as any, if not the most. So overall, I mean, it kind of, watching the game, Water Dogs were there, but it looked like a Whips game from start to finish. Like they were always playing their game, defense or offense. And as James, as you said, Ward wasn't enough.
That's what I was going to say. It's interesting that you said Ward was 39%, and we were just talking about Blaze creating offense and fast breaks. I'm wondering how many of that 39% aren't clean saves, right? And like, you cannot start fast breaks without that clean save first. So it's interesting that, the difference between one creates offense and the other gives up goals. It's like the complete antithesis of the other. So.
Yeah, I mean, that, and then, dude, the Whipsnakes ball movement is just, it's
unbelievable.
Earlier, it's like the Warriors. Like, there's you have to create a turnover, because eventually if they just keep spinning the ball, your defense is going to collapse. And then sure enough, Zed or Brad Smith or someone would just pop up right in front of the crease wide open, because it's like, and that communication is going to break down eventually
at some point. And have you guys heard the announcers talk about Jay Carlson, their 3rd attackman? He just sits around the crease and eats up garbage. He literally just sits there, and every time
he did.
Right. He's Johnny on the spot. Like, he's always at that one bounce, and he ends up having 2 random goals that are huge. So they have everything they need. So we'll see.
Yeah, he finished with 3 goals just from basically cleanup crew.
Right. Cleanup and one more. What's up?
Carlson's between the leg shot or Rambo's jump shot top right.
Dude, Rambo's shot. You can't.
I mean, I really don't want to take away from that in between shot, but Rambo's accuracy is.
Yeah, Rambo's.
That was a filthy shot, but
absolutely.
It looked like it went through the pipe, like it was that close. It just, I don't know.
Like, I felt like we could have had a cup the size of a lacrosse ball and it would have fit in there.
I was just about to say that the window for that shot was the circumference of a lacrosse ball.
Like, Dylan Ward was confused because he was in the right spot. He was like, the only way he could have made it is if it was 2 inches above my stick, and it was. So we've got our winners from this past weekend. It's going to be a great game, but let's first jump into some wall ball. So this is our 101 lacrosse session where we take a topic and just kind of break it down each week. So we thought this was a good week to talk about the MVP. So I want to know what MVP in this league means to you guys. We're seeing in other leagues, MVP can mean different things. Main thing in like the NBA, they're looking at things like recency bias. So my question is, what criteria do you guys think the PLL is looking at? Are they just looking at the stat sheet? Are they taking into account situational factors? Does the postseason play into that decision? James, I'll start with you. What do you think here? So as of right now, I think they're doing the best player on the best team that like goes the furthest, essentially. So I think if you get hot in the tournament, you might, have a better chance, because I think we are pretty bad still in the PLL with the recency bias. But I think it's stats and how good your team is. But it's been very hard because the Whipsnakes have been so dominant. So you kind of have to pick and choose a player from their team. But I think as of right now, it's best player, best team, and then stats basically within the tournament or the bubbles that we had in 2019. So that's all. I mean, I think it's correct for what it is now. But over time, we'll argue about it and it'll change like it does in every other sports league. So I don't know.
Sam-wise?
I agree with you, James. I think they're sticking with the best player and best team. I hope to see that change, because I definitely think Blaze does deserve it in terms of his performance over the season, especially in the playoffs, in those tight, crucial games, making those big saves.
Right.
I hope they don't go recency bias in terms of, Zed had 6 goals, championship, all right, give it to him,
Mm-hmm.
But I think for the time being, they might have to do that until the league is a little bigger. So
That's true.
I hope to see a change, but I think we'll see the same thing as last year, where it's best team, best player, championship. He gets it.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, because I think if I don't think they're looking at just regular season, because if you are, I think Grant Ament has to be MVP. Right. But
I don't think
I like, my question to you guys is like, I would say right now you have to pick Zed Williams. I personally, I think Blaze should win it. I think they're going to go with the sexier pick, the one who's outscoring goals. It's always like, a defender getting it in the defender, right? Or NBA.
Always.
But so that's my question is, if Whipsnakes win next week, they're going to give it to Zed.
Yep.
But if Chaos win next week and Blaze plays fantastic, do you think they could give it to Blaze?
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
I do.
I think they might.
I actually do, and I think he's going to like beat out other goalies who might have a chance because he creates offense as well, not only because he is a good goaltender. Question to both of you guys. I was kind of going to throw it back to Matt, but like, let's say there's a guy in the Chrome this year that has the most points and most assists. Should he be in the MVP conversation, even though he went home 2 weeks ago?
So, you hear a lot of argument on this. I am a full supporter of the MVP should be decided the week after the regular season ends.
Yes, we should have 2. We should have a tournament MVP and a regular
season. If everyone listening watches any sport besides PLL, which I'm assuming you do, tell me regular season LeBron and playoff LeBron are the same player. I will have that argument with you 1,000%.
I'll be there.
People play with more determination, more motivation in the postseason. Obviously, you should play with that during the regular season, but you just see these monsters come out of nowhere in the postseason and end up winning it for their team. So it's like the MVP is, I think, should be the regular season. But again, it's like you're probably not going to see MVP on like a team like Chrome, because the Chrome was the worst team in the league. So you're
sure.
Like MVP should be a team or a person that carried their team to the postseason.
You're right.
So I can see the flip side of it, but
I like that.
I think that should be decided as soon as the regular season's over.
Agreed. And I think we should always have a regular season MVP and then a tournament for
playoff, I like that.
Playoff
like
MVP.
the regular season tournament.
Like a tournament MVP.
Yeah.
That should be the second word.
I guess make it more fair and more.
Yeah.
But then, and we might have to move on, but like, let's say a guy like Eli Apple holds Rambo to no points in the championship game last year. Should Apple be up for MVP? Because now they might win that. You know what I mean? So it's that conversation. It's like the Andre Iguodala against LeBron thing, you know?
Listen, that's probably one of the reasons they don't ask me for my opinion on that stuff. But
that's fair.
Not yet.
Yeah. Soon.
All right, let's move on to championship game next weekend. Chaos Whipsnakes. So let's go around, give our predictions, what we like about this one. Sam, I'll start with you. What are you looking for in this game?
I love the underdogs. I'm going Chaos. Mostly because of Blaze's performance this season and postseason, especially last week during my Atlas. Kind of broke our spirit halfway through the game.
He did. Yeah.
I mean, that whole team just kind of looks like they have a chip on their shoulder, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think, 3.2% brackets have them winning. So that adds to it. And I kind of think overall, everybody, they think everybody else just kind of, it's like, oh, they're Chaos, they're not making it. So I think that kind of has a chip on their shoulder. And, what I'm looking for in this game, the Newman Rowlett versus Zed and Rambo. I think those are big two key matchups to watch on when the Whips are on offense. And that how those go, I think will determine the entire game.
That's a good point.
What do you got for a score?
Oh yeah.
Oh shoot. Man, this is
boy.
tough.
We'll be right back after these messages from
I was gonna say.
I'm gonna say 15-14 overtime.
OT championship.
Yeah, who's got the game winner? Who's got the game winner? Who's got the game winner? I need this. Who's got the game winner?
I'm gonna say Chase Frazier. OT winner.
Ooh, I like it.
Wow.
I like the hot take.
That's a blazing hot take. That's all I got today.
Nice.
That's all I got today.
Nice.
For that
Nice.
One. Go ahead, James.
I got it. So for the Chaos, I say push transition literally at all times. If you have any advantage, a 2-on-3, a 3-on-4, you have to take it because you're not going to get that many chances. And when the Whips get possessions, I mean, they're going to put some of them in the back of the cage. I think Andy Towers, his goal is going to be just get them out of a rhythm, which people sometimes don't understand because it looks weird when you're watching. But like, let's say we do a 10-man ride one possession, or we push out and don't let Rambo get the ball, or like let's hold slides when Zed is dodging, but slide early when Rambo's going. Just anything to get these guys out of that rhythm. And I think the absolute goal for them is guarding the Warriors of the past couple of years. Sometimes the best shot for the Warriors is a wide open Draymond 3, and that's what you're gonna have to give up. You're going to have to give up one of their middies stepping down and having a wide open shot on Blaze and just trust Blaze. Because if you let anybody else eat, they're going to eat.
Yeah.
And then for Whipsnakes, I have the whole, should Kyle play or should they keep riding hot with a guy who's literally been killing it for them? Rambo, Zed, and Gutty keep attacking shorties. I mean, really, they just have to slow the Chaos down. That's really it. I mean, if they don't have that transition, they lose. So I say aim small, miss small on Blaze. You can't just shoot at a stick. He'll save it every time. I have 15-17 Whipsnakes win, merely just because too much talent. And I want from both of you to hear, what does it mean for this league if the Whipsnakes three-peat? Super curious.
Wow.
Matt, what you got?
This is going to be such a fun game, but
right.
So my key for Chaos is Adler absolutely has to dominate on faceoffs. And the only reason I say that is I was trying to think of a way to slow the Whipsnakes down, and that's the only one I can come up with is just take possessions away from them.
Yep.
But Chaos on offense cannot have turnovers. You need to make sure every possession is a shot on net, and it's a good shot on net.
Yep.
They can do it. I think they're going to have transition opportunities. They absolutely have to capitalize on those if they want to even be competitive in this game.
Yep.
And they need Blaze to have the performance of his career, which we've said that a few weeks. He's done it. So we'll see if he can do it again. For Whipsnakes, you kind of touched on it. Slow down the Chaos transition offense. That's going to be a key for their defense. On the offensive side of the ball, lots of movement. get your guys open, get the matchups you want, and then let Rambo, Zed, and Gutterding just pepper the net.
Take it home. Yeah.
I'm going kind of what you said. I think the Whipsnakes have to get into a rhythm early. They need to get Blaze uncomfortable in the net, because if he does get comfortable,
it can be a long game.
It could be a long day for them. Matchup I'll be watching, Sam kind of touched on it. Rowlett on Zed and Newman on Rambo. Chaos need their D guys get off screens early, slide insanely quick, which is easy to say. I'm taking Whipsnakes 16-13. I don't see them losing with this roster, dude. So
I can't.
To answer your question, if they win 3 times in a row, which I think they will, I don't know what it means. I don't think – I mean, they can't
is the league even?
Hey, it's not fair. You can't do that. That's just such a bad look publicity-wise. You can't do that.
I guess that's what the question. Like, what does it mean? The Whips are that good. Their coach is that good. They just put a good roster together because I don't know.
I mean, it's clearly a talent thing. It's just they're just more talented. But at some point, you're going to have to the Gutterding trade was just ridiculous.
Insane.
I'm not saying they shouldn't have denied. They should have denied it. They can't deny a trade when you're in the infancy of a league like that. But
right.
Dude, that was just the icing on the cake for the Whipsnakes.
I think, if anything, this might be the last. If Whips this might be the last year they do win a championship as kind of as I don't want to say easy, but it's like, right now we're like, Whips might win it, like giving it like 80%. And the reason I'm saying that is because we have so many young players, as we were talking about earlier, that, playing in this game. We saw a little bit on Atlas. James, you were saying like, deer in headlights, right? They probably weren't ready for that type of environment. Next year, everyone's going to have some experience under them. Every team is going to have some experience. Some of those young guys, rookies coming out, going to have a whole off season to practice, get better.
True.
I think maybe, yes, or the Whipsnakes are dominant now, mainly because they do have the best players currently, but that might be offset by, the experience that these young guys are now getting. Not saying Rambo and Zed and all these guys aren't young. But it's just maybe they're just the best at the sport right now. And you got to give the teams another year, another season to catch up.
Yeah. I mean, we also have to give the Whipsnakes coach a lot of credit. I mean, he lost Rambo for 6 games of a short season, and they're still in the ship. I mean, he had his number one goalie who's won 2 national championships, played in big games. He had to make the decision to sit Kyle, and it ended up being possibly the decision to push them to the championship.
Yep.
So are we a Perkovic TD injury away from maybe the Redwoods being here? Maybe.
Well, so that's what I was going to say is like, I think one thing absolutely have to give credit to the Whipsnakes team. They were resilient as hell this season.
The whole season.
But Chaos were only 1 game behind them at the end of the regular season. So it was like, to your point, Whipsnakes were 1 game away from having to face the Archers in the first round. So it's like.
Yeah, that's true.
That could have been a completely different game. I mean, that would have been a high-scoring game, but it was like this league is so competitive, which I love. Whipsnakes were only like 2 games out of not even making the playoffs. So it's like
that's crazy. And
they were the 5th seed, and
it's interesting to think like if Archers win the first 2 ships and then win this 3rd one, are we saying that team's too stacked with Grand Amon? But on paper, all these teams look stacked if they win championships, but like it doesn't mean the other ones aren't. It just means one team's putting it together.
I'm definitely not there yet as far as worrying that Whipsnakes are going to win for the next 5 seasons.
No.
I think they'll absolutely be in the Final Four the next 5 seasons with that team.
Agreed.
But, dude, Water Dogs are still a very talented roster. Archers, if they can stop being the Saints, like Bryce said, they can make a run. I think Atlas will be back next year. So
absolutely.
I think the deeper we go into this league, the more competitive it's going to get. You've got insane guys coming out of college into this draft this year. So the
COVID year,
insane.
Like what that did for who's coming out. So wow, that's true. I was curious. So that's a good take.
Yeah.
Good take.
Well, we will see. Championship game, Chaos Whipsnakes, Sunday at 12 o'clock. 3 of us will actually be together for a friend's wedding, so we'll be watching. I'm sure we'll be live tweeting as well.
100%.
Any last comments?
No, I'm good. I'm definitely excited for this game. I think this is going to be just as close as the championship games have been. Really don't foresee a blowout, but I want to see I don't know if this is a hot take, but I think Blaze could have like 25 saves. I really think.
I thought you were gonna say 25 goals.
No, I think
with
no.
That
I think Blaze can really have that kind of game, and I don't know. Maybe we'll be able to not shut down Rambo, but just contain it and go from there.
We'll
But no, that's all I
All
got.
right, well, that's a wrap for us this week, guys. Enjoy the championship. If you're not following us on Twitter, Instagram, do it at PLL Quick Sticks. But
Yes.
we will talk to you all next week. Peace.
Thanks,
Peace
guys.
out.